and everything will be and the withdrawing from that sidechain will be managed by submitting withdrawal request within that sidechain. But we wanted to have, let me say, even a proper way for withdrawing from a sidechain, even if this sidechain was totally maliciously controlled or for whatever reason stops working. So, and we did this to have the users' funds safe in a way that they will be able to withdraw them, even if it is not working anymore, the sidechain. But where is the issue? How main chain will be able to let a user withdraw from a sidechain that doesn't know how it is done? Because there will be not any more interaction between the user and the sidechain itself, because the sidechain is not working anymore. It's finished. I mean, it's not providing any more certificate, and it's done. So, and this process is even more useful if you see it in the context of data availability attacks that are, how to say, a kind of attack that can apply to when you're using snarks to provide proof of something. But if the something that provided the proof is not public for any reason, because there was a majority that kept the data private but was able to provide a valid proof, you end up in a situation where the user cannot, let me say, provide proof of having coins in that sidechain. But in any case, the sidechain withdrawal and the main chain backward transfer request mechanism are meant to manage even such kind of situations. And so, with the sidechain withdrawal, you will be able to, the user will be able to provide a proof. For example, if we are talking about our Latos sidechain implementation, so the user will be able to provide a proof in mainchain that they had some coins in the past and that these coins are still there. And obviously, this will use a snark for providing this proof. And the main chain will verify that this transaction that is claiming some coins is legitimate. So if it is following the rules of this circuit, and the rules are, I should demonstrate that I had some coins in the past, and these coins remained untouched until now. And this is the way the C sidechain withdrawal is working, by verifying this proof. Okay, and let's now spend a couple of words about the main chain backward transfer request, because are related to this. Let's suppose that even you have a totally maliciously controlled sidechain for any reason. So, and you have censorship on, obviously the malicious, that the 51% will have the possibility to censor request of withdrawing. But we wanted to provide a tool for the user for obliging the sidechain to answer to withdrawal request, main chain backward transfer request. So, this is a specific transaction that is posted on the main chain that must be, I mean, the sidechain can be designed in a way that the circuit of the sidechain enforce the processing of these requests. And so even if the sidechain is totally maliciously controlled, the circuit can enforce the processing of this request. And if this request is legitimate, can force the malicious actor to add to the next certificate the corresponding withdrawal. So in such a way where even in case the sidechain is totally maliciously controlled, we will be able to provide a tool to the user to withdraw his funds, even if it is not seized and even if it is there, and just censoring the requests on the sidechain side. And this is, I mean, you know, for providing even more security to the users. Okay. Now let's go back to the development so regarding the sidechain withdrawals, it's about 75% of completion of the development, and the first level of code review is already started in parallel. Obviously, not for the whole.
Sorry, this is Rolf. I think I finally understand the sidechain withdrawal. Can I just state it kind of the way I think it?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
So a person's sidechain private key allows for the creation of a ceased sidechain withdrawal request. So if the sidechain has ceased, and I guess a different discussion would be, there are many ways that we're going to prevent sidechains from stopping. Obviously, there's many ways that we're going to keep sidechains operating. It's only in the ultimate instance that it stops. So your sidechain private key allows you to create a main chain transaction using this sidechain private key to create a withdrawal, even if the sidechain is ceased?
Correct. And we will for sure verify that you are entitled to do this kind of request by, in the circuit, verifying that you have the private key or a valid signature for spending the funds. But moreover, we will also verify in the circuit that there was a previous certificate that committed a state where you can demonstrate that you had these coins, and also verifying that you have left them untouched until now.
And that's the purpose of the creation of all the certificates, to do a summary version of all the various sidechain states. So this also, and you said, so a person's sidechain private key also allows for the creation of a backward transfer request applied to the main chain.
Exactly. I mean, every
I get it now.
Is a sort of a heartbeat where you post a state, a succinct state, and in this succinct state, you can see it as, for example, a Merkle root of UTXOs. And you can, if you know how this Merkle tree is done, you can provide a proof that you have a UTXO in that tree. And there is another structure that is called bit vector that lets you prove that your UTXO remained untouched for all the subsequent epoch until now.
Okay, so that totally makes sense. And I'm sorry to interrupt, but that was the mental block that I had. So when you transfer funds to a sidechain and you're operating on that sidechain, within that sidechain application, you can send it back to the main chain. But if for some reason that sidechain doesn't, the operators of the sidechain don't allow for the transfer back to the main chain, you can, using your private key, create a main chain request to pull your funds back, even if it's ceased or not, because there's been summary certificates all along that are Merkle tree summarizations and ZK snark certificates. So the main chain doesn't have to know the status of the side chain, but by having your sidechain private key, you're able to create this request to the main chain that pulls your funds back from the sidechain.
Correct.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you, Rolf. Okay, and yes, this is the reason for having the sidechain withdrawals and the main chain backward transfer request, because we didn't want to rely that everything is working properly. We wanted even to provide a way for the user to retrieve the funds, even if some application is not working properly for any reason. Okay, and so this is the way. Okay, let's okay, regarding the the development of the main chain backward transfer request, we're done implementing all the features required. Complete with the unit test, integration test, and currently we are in the phase of intermediate code review with some minor improvements requested and on the way, ready to be implemented. By this week, we should be able to have it already ready for final review. Okay, let's go on to the other huge area of work that we are currently working on, is the proving system. As I told last week, one of the things that we're working on is these sessions where we are detailing the changes that are needed to introduce our new proven system that make, let me say, feasible and performant the recursive proof composition on the sidechain side. The last week we were able to cover the changes that are useful, for example, for speeding up the sum check operation that is involved in many parts during the proving process. And now we're working on detailing the changes that are needed for the introduction of the accumulators for speeding up intermediate proof verification in the circuit, and also the changes, detailing the changes that are needed for getting rid of the inner sum check. So this is something that let me say are the last few things that we are detailing, and then we have all the proving system team members completely aligned on all the next development tasks that are needed to complete the proving system implementation. Okay, and regarding the GPU, we last week we said that we were able to get the Changelly integrated with our GPU code, and now we already started adding the CPU improvement as well. And regarding the GPU part, the code had already a first internal code review, and a few small improvements were requested, but are being implemented right now. Regarding the circuits, so let's switch topic and go to the circuits. We were able to define and detail for all the circuits that are involved on the sidechain side. Base transaction circuit, the block circuit, the certificate circuit. On the sidechain side, there are many circuits that need to be run. So before proceeding with the development of the circuits, we wanted to have a clear specification of all the, for example, all the public inputs, all the witnesses, all the statement that needed to be checked inside each circuit. So we did this huge work, and we ended up with a detailed specification of all the circuits. And I started reviewing it the last week, and everything's proceeded quite well. And just a few changes, minor changes were requested, but everything is proceeding well there. And this will be, let me say, a good guide for the developers to proceed on the development, already having a clear specification on all the checks that needs to be done. One of the last things that I would mention today is the bit vector that is more related to the SDK. And as Rolf, and I was saying to Rolf just a few minutes ago, the bit vector is something that is needed also to prove that a UTXO kept untouched even if the sidechain is not working anymore, we have this bit vector. This is a sort of a compressed way for providing the data for the user to provide a proof that his UTXO was kept untouched. And so, but beyond this, I mean, we need to create this bit vector, and we have to keep track of it every time you change your UTXO on the sidechain side. And so this is something that we needed to implement, and currently we have implemented the functionality together with some unit tests for it, and we created an implementation that is keeping all together the UTXO Merkle tree, let's call it that way, and the bit vector in a good way. And the first internal code review was already performed, and no changes were requested there. So probably that's all. So thank you, Luca.
Thank you, Alberto. Mammoth update today. That's it for now. Back to Angie.
Awesome. Thank you guys for the great updates. Let's continue with Jonathan for the growth updates.
Hey, everybody. Happy Monday. On the growth side, we are seeing absolutely enormous explosions in new users, kind of to the tune of 400% more than normal, especially yesterday. On January 10th, we saw an increase of 400% over the normal daily average of new users that we have. And it kind of shows the importance of having a very easy and simple onboarding tool, which in our case is the Community Hub. If you think about another project that doesn't have a Community Hub, let's say that they're doing very well in the press and the news, all they can do is sign up to the newsletter. And so, then it's up to the marketing team to try to engage them. We already have an entire system where you come to the Community Hub. You can then learn about the wallets. You can then learn about Academy. We have a whole campaign of emails that goes out to teach you about the project. And it's times like this when that ecosystem that we've built over the last 2 years is really important. It's kind of like a supercharged engine that speeds up as soon as the users start coming in, that scales automatically with new users. So, for example, it would be impossible for us to build that when the new users start coming. It takes a long time to build that ecosystem. And because we have it, all of these 400% increase in new users are now going to be supercharged into the Zen ecosystem. So I'm very excited about that, and definitely would say that we are seeing unbelievable growth on the user side. So in addition to that, we're also helping Lucy with a couple of things, adding new merchants to the merchants page, adding new exchanges, updating the technology page, the node page, and soon we'll be updating the sidechain page as well. So overall, a very, very positive week for Zen, not just on the price side, but also on the growth side. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jonathan. Let's continue with Dean for the BD and operations updates.
Hey, everybody. So today we have some very interesting updates. As always, I'll turn it over to Vano for the integrations and to Caspers for a sidechain update. Before they jump in, I will do my best Rowan interpretation. If you're on, this is done out of love. So we did sign a big BD deal that I'm not going to tell you the name of because we really want to make sure that this is a public release done in conjunction with the partner and our marketing team and their marketing team. But very excited about it, and I don't get excited easily. So I'll just leave it at that and turn it over to Vano for our BD integration updates.
Thanks, Dean. So today, I wanted to reflect on our markets in terms of really improved volumes and liquidity. And we have been getting plenty of new listings recently, and we are not strange. of them, and some of them have been really successful, but we are getting a lot of attention at our existing partners as well. During the last 24 hours, our volume hit a record high 200 million USD, which is really huge, and volume at Binance is leading the way. With regards to our perpetual markets, 24-hour volume there is over 600 million USD, more than $500 million, which is also record high and great to see. Such increased volumes are signs for our markets improving and maturing a lot, and I think that makes everyone happy. And it is also worth noting that our market maturity score at Flipside Crypto jumped to A rating as well, which has always been lagging compared to development and user activity scores. And we have seen a really huge jump in risk rating from D to A. So fundamental analysis is proving that our markets are maturing as well. And on that positive note, we have got 2 new listings as well. First one is DigiFinex, a top 50 exchange by CoinMarketCap ranking, popular in USA, Japan, and Korea. And DigiFinex is operating from 2018, and we have got a USDT spot pair there. And another listing is Hotbit, a top 100 exchange by CoinMarketCap ranking, pretty popular in USA, Japan as well, and India markets. And we have got USDT, BTC, and Ethereum markets there. So really happy for our new listings, and particularly for our increased volumes and really great score at Flipside Crypto. And now I pass it to Guan for Chinese market updates.
Hello, everybody. This is Guan from China Market. Just 4 quick updates from me. The first is that I made a statistics last week that the China community annual growth rate in 2020 was up to 243%. The second thing is that the whole China community shows a greater interest in the project recent days. I'm invited by a China influential crypto community to do AMA to introduce our then do sidechain tech this Friday. The third thing is that we have a new China potential design partner who also meet me today in person. They are also lead a proof of origin sidechain for the wine business. I think those community members are also our potential clients because they trust the project and the team. Details I will talk to Lucy. The first thing is that today Zen has been accepted as a Web3 platform in the China's main crypto info apps. And Load Easy also published an article of Zen today. This article stresses that Zen is not only a pure forked coin, but also a huge Web3 platform. A big thanks to Load Easy. That's all. I will pass the mic to Caspers. Thanks.
Thank you, Guan. Hi, everybody. This is Caspers from BD. So we are steaming ahead again with our sidechains partnerships outreach. Last week we had 7 calls. The progress on developing new partnerships, I can say, is very good, and we are building a valuable network of contacts and leads along the way. Getting more and more feedback that our technology is interesting, that Horizen is bringing something unique to the market, indeed, with the Zendoo protocol. People, of course, want to be part of that and part of our success. This week we have scheduled 7 new calls and a few follow-ups, and lots of opportunities are slowly coming together. And really excited also about the opportunity and the partnership that Dean mentioned, so follow along. That's it for me now. Have a great Monday. Back to you, Angie.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Let's continue now with Lucy to give us the marketing updates.
Happy Monday, everyone. Thank you so much, everyone, for a very exciting news. So on the marketing side, we are mainly focusing on releasing some new partnerships. So all these partnerships are companies working with us to build different use cases on Horizen. So very excited for all of us. Dean said it, and exciting news is ahead of us. So make sure that you sit tight and don't go anywhere. So we released our our other sidechain partnership with LTO Network just before the new year. So they're building a blockchain on Horizen to make the business transactions more secure and more efficient. So we are currently also planning a joint AMA with them, and then it will be a good opportunity for our community to learn more about this partnership. So we will post the invitation on social media once we have all the details. So it's really exciting to see more and more use cases are being built on Horizen, and we see the same trend of interest from developer community as well. So we know there are 565 individuals downloaded the full how to build a customized DApp on Horizen webinar. So we know this number because they registered with us to download the full tutorial. But the tutorial series is also available to watch on our YouTube channel. So for sure, there even more people watch the tutorials and are learning to use and do. And also, Flipside Crypto published a report last week that listed top 25 projects of the month, and Horizen is one of them. So they evaluate the fundamental health of a crypto project, and then they re-evaluate their FCAS members each month. So only projects that ranked within the top 25 for at least 40 days are to qualify their FCAS 25. So really, really nice to see that Horizen made it to the list this month. And lastly, just a reminder that our 2020 annual report is still, is already out and available to read on horizen.io/news. It has some really interesting numbers and information to show how we did last year. And then I said before, it was a difficult but strong year for us. And we, obviously we have already started the 2021 very strong also. That's it from me. Thank you. Back to you, Angie.
Okay, great. Let's continue now with Rosario to give us the product and engineering updates.
Hi guys, this is Rosario and Zen Baby here. I just wanted to wish everyone a happy Monday. We are wrapping up our 2021 roadmap, which will be published soon. And last week, Rob had mentioned additional projects that we wanted to look at. So we discussed which those are going to be. And of course, our delivery is focused on Zendoo and the full lattice implementation. And that includes a sidechain system with full recursive snarks that Alberto is going into detail. And once we accomplish this, we'll move to resources into looking at the treasury and voting system on our sidechain. So that's going to be one of the potentially first major design for our sidechain going forward. And so from a Horizen Labs perspective, and I usually give some updates from entire ecosystem perspective, we are building a game chain application, and this week we will deliver a game chain JavaScript library to the game developer at the end of the week. And once we do this, we will go into more of a support role, and as they integrate the blockchain components into their application. From a Celsius perspective, we've detailed the tasks to be completed for our first milestone. And that's just as a reminder, the first milestone is going to be a sidechain that manages payment transactions, which sends a receipt to the customer and they can check their transactions on the sidechain that transaction actually occurred, and a sum transaction, which includes a snark that proves the sum of the transaction. So our delivery date for the first milestone, and this is for the proof of concept, is March 3rd. And we're aiming to complete the entire proof of concept by June. That is it for now. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Rosario. Before we move on to the final comments, I would just like to point out and say thanks to the community members who have contributed to our HDE tasks and platform. They've been contributing to such tasks as creating sidechains and testing the sidechain functionalities in Sphere by Horizen. We've have people from Sweden, France, Mexico, Turkey, Poland, China, and among other countries. So this is great that we have the chance and the people have the chance to test out our different products from different countries. So thank you to the community members who have contributed. I'll pass the word now to Rolf, if you'd like to give us some comments or questions.
Yeah, thanks, Angie. I really like to think about the different sidechain applications that can be done. And when I talk to folks about it, some people, for some reason, try to go to the most complex types of situations out there. Like I want to establish the ability to send funds from one country to another, do a credit card, all sorts of things like that. I think one of the principles that we've used that's helped us be successful at Horizen is to start with simple things and build those up into more complicated things. So that when folks are looking to develop sidechain applications, it's very easy to come up with a complex idea, but sometimes maybe you want to start with a more simple, straightforward idea. Instead of implementing, for example, an entire casino experience on a sidechain, maybe develop a game of roulette or something like that as an example. Because it's always easy to add complexity later, but it's sometimes hard to start with a basic idea and make sure it's rock solid, secure, and that it works and that people have interest. Sort of the minimal viable product approach to product development. Anyway, that's all I've got. Thanks, Angie.
Thank you, Ralph. And now let's welcome Rob for the final part and Q&A session.
Hello, everyone. Let's see. So on my end, I got a question from Oscar on Twitter who asked me when we're going to be updating the 2021 roadmap or updating the Horizen roadmap, which we haven't since last year. And the answer is right now. And Rosario mentioned that. So it's ongoing. The bulk of our resources, the bulk of everything we're doing is focusing very specifically on getting Zendoo to mainnet. And the project plan for that is right at the very end of being complete within the next couple of days. That's the key element for the roadmap. So we're going to take that. That's going to be the core of what you're going to see in 2021, getting Zendoo to mainnet. And then we're going to be adding a bunch of other stuff. So you're getting a feel for it in every one of these calls. And I love how Dean channeled his inner Rowan. Shout out to you, Rowan, if you're listening. But that was pretty funny. Signed a huge partnership, and we can't tell you guys anything about it. But what we can say is we're going to have plenty of these flowing this year. We have a bunch in the pipeline, a bunch of other integrations, new exchange listings. You're seeing, like Jonathan mentioned, our growth numbers are just kind of off the charts right now, which is great. But everyone's happy when the price is up. So you see a ton of new users coming in. Our job here is to make sure that we can productively channel people's interest and get people to be doing interesting things like HDE. Thanks, Angie, for the shout out on that. To the community and just the diversity of interest that we're getting, diversity of developers from all over the world participating. There's going to be a lot of that kind of stuff built into the roadmap as well, around just the core focus on the core technology, and then these other types of things that are making that core technology more useful and accessible to people in the marketplace. We also have some, we will have several high profile and interesting sidechains that will launch while we're still in beta in POC version, proof of concept. And we'll ultimately be converting them to production when Zendoo goes to mainnet. And then we'll be thinking through towards the end of the year, once we can free up some resources, thinking through these really big infrastructure side chains like the voting system, the node tracking and payment system. We really need to start focusing some brain power on these really high profile decentralizing elements to really get to the fundamentals of everything we've been trying to do for the last 4 years. We're finally getting to the point where we can actually start designing these things and hopefully towards the end of the year start building some of these really important, I would say industry showcasing projects. Other than that, guys, the grand unifying theme to all of this sounds great and it is extremely exciting. We have a lot going on, but we're keeping it simple, staying focused, not adding scope to the plans that we currently have in place for at least the first half of 2021. So that roadmap that's being based on the project plan is really the first half of 2021, and we're not adding scope to the things we're doing. We're playing conservative, and we're not going to be diluting our efforts or stretching ourselves thin, even though the ecosystem is sort of exploding in buzz and excitement and everything right now. We want to channel that stuff productively, and I think that some of the coolest ways we're going to do this in the near term are invigorating things like our community efforts and working with just the people that you know and love and hear from on this project, not just the team, but the prominent community members. We're going to make sure we stress, certain fun activities that are ongoing. So anyway, guys, that's all I have here. We can open it up to Q&A, and otherwise, it's been a really good update.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay. So thank you everyone for contributing to the top 3 questions. Let's see. The first one is, at what price is your budget situation good? Give us financial details. Recent price movements are very positive.
Yeah, so we're good. Basically, anything over $10, we're good. Now there are different levels of good, right? And like I said, we're playing things conservatively. And we were in the red for a while. We had a very long, prolonged bear market that we're very happy not to be in anymore. But we're not going to jump to start partying yet. At this point, we're just going to keep doing what we're doing, keep executing plans, and really just take this as big risk reduction for the entire ecosystem.
Awesome. Second question is, any update on the major system integrator partnership and sidechain development with the wine company you mentioned last year?
So we have two interesting things going on. One, Guanyin brought up a really cool BD effort that he has ongoing in China with a wine proof of origin project over there. There was the other one with the big systems integrator. So the project with the big systems integrator is still there, still working with them, but the end use case is pivoting. And the end use case, until we actually sign that and are ready to talk about it publicly, I'm not going to say what that use case is, but we are continuing to work with that integrator and really excited for that project.
Great. The third and final question is, why might privacy coins and platforms be trending in the last 24 hours?
That's a really good question. That what I can say is last week or 2 weeks ago, privacy projects were being hit by the markets because there was speculation of delistings and exchanges delisting privacy coins. I think that at least fear in the short term seems to be subsiding, and you're seeing people get back in. But I really don't want to speculate on price or make up answers for things that we don't ultimately know. Other than we're very comfortable with where we are as a project and very happy with the technology we're building and the fact that we are regulatory compliant within the jurisdictions in which we operate. I think that sometimes markets can overreact, and maybe some weeks ago when there was this idea of a wave of delistings, that could have been an overreaction that's being corrected. Just without speculating further, I'll just leave it at that.
Awesome. Thank you, Rob. And thank you, everyone, for attending our Weekly Insider. Remember, we do this every Monday to bring you the latest Horizen updates. Have a great week. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Angie. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.